Hello and welcome back to another episode of Twisted Iron Projects. In today's video, I'll be going over how I made this simple coal rake. Now the purpose of the coal rake is to help you maintain your solid fuel fire, whether you're using charcoal, coal, or coke. But the coal rake itself is simply to drag or push coal up to your fire more efficiently. That way, when it's close to the fire, it burns and it breaks down from the solid coal into coke that is actually burned in the fire. Coke burns much cleaner than coal does, as well as it gets that heat that you need. So this helps you move that coal to where you need it to help it break down into coke while you're working in the forge. So if you want to see how I made that, make sure to stick around. To start things off, I am using a piece of 1/2-inch rebar scrap that I had laying around. It is 1/2 inch by roughly 2.5 foot. And what I'm going to do is I am going to square up the entire length of this piece of rebar. Then I will go into flattening out a 4 to 5 inch section at the end that will later be bent into the rake section itself. I'm going to be putting a twist in the middle section, and then I'll be making a handle on the opposite end. Now here I am using the cross peen side of my hammer to try and widen out that flattened section a little bit. I want it to be just a little bit wider than the 1/2 inch material itself, and say that gives me a larger surface area to be able to grab that coal and push it away from me or pull it towards me. Unlike with my fire poker that I have, it is very thin, so it doesn't work very well for dragging or pushing coal around. So that's why I want this to be a little bit wider to give that more surface area. Now, if you see that new forge in the back, as well as that table connecting the two forges, I did recently complete making those. Unfortunately, my camera is giving me fits when making the forge, so I don't have any footage of that, but I do have footage of me making that table in the middle that I also use as a welding table. So if you want to see that, I will be leaving a link somewhere around here once I get it completed. Now, here it is. I'm going to taper off the opposite end of this piece of rebar, and what this is going to become, it'll be the handle. I'm going to bring it down into a fairly sharp point at the taper. I want it to be about 6 to 8 inches long, this tapered section, and a nice smooth transition from the round into the taper. At the very end of the taper, I am going to round it up a little bit. Just makes it easier for me to do a simple scroll at the very end. Just makes it look a little bit better. Now that I'm looking back at things that I've been doing on this project and how it turned out, I do think I should have knocked off the corners on a lot larger section, made it a little bit more comfortable in the hand, but I'll get to that another day, possibly just hit it with a file and call it good. So for the scroll, I'm just going to get the tip very hot. I'm going to take it over the edge of my anvil, knock it down a little bit, flip it back over towards myself, and just kind of glancing blows. And try to make sure you don't do this in the same spot over and over again, because that'll flatten out a piece of it. But try and do glancing blows, pulling that curl towards yourself. And say that's the simplest and easiest way I found to do it, and the results are actually fairly decent. Now that I got the scroll finished, I am going to measure off the section I want for the handle. I'm just going to start bending it here over my horn to get a nice little curve going to it. Once I get that curved over to about the shape that I want, I'm going to bring it back over here to the flat side of the anvil and just straighten everything up. Try to get that scroll in the middle of the actual piece itself, and then just kind of fit it to the size I want to my hand. This is a very simple handle, but they look good and feel pretty decent as well, especially if you knock off the corners. Now we're going to come on over to the vise, and I'm going to do the twist. I will be doing a reverse twist on this one. So for the first section here, I'm only doing about 6 inches, and I'm going to be turning it counterclockwise, roughly 1.5 turns. And then when I flip it over to do the other side, I will go clockwise and try to get the same amount of turns in there. That'll cause that reverse section there in the middle, and in my opinion, I think it looks pretty darn well. Here we go with the opposite end. Again, I'm spinning it in the opposite direction of what I did the first twist in order to achieve that reverse twist. Now that I got that twist in there, in order to straighten this bar out, I don't want to hit this on the anvil with my hammer, because that'll deform the twist and make it look bad. So in order to keep that twist, that look going on, I'm just using a piece of 4x4 here, and unfortunately my other mallet, the handle ended up breaking, so I'm just trying to use it by hand here until I can replace that handle to straighten everything out and get it all in line. And then remember, as you're working your metal, while it's still hot and everything, try to give it a good brush as often as possible. This will help it stay nice and clean for you. Now we're going to move into bending the rake side. What I'm going to do here is in the opposite direction of where I want the rake to face, I'm going to knock it down a little bit, and then I'll flip it back over, give it about 1 inch or 2 space from that initial bend, and bend it the opposite direction. This kind of gives it that little question mark type shape to it, and I think makes it look more like a refined tool and a lot better. At this point, I'd like to thank all of you guys for watching my videos and supporting the channel. If you aren't subscribed already and you're enjoying the content, feel free to hit that subscribe button and the bell notification. That way you know each time I drop a new video. If you're enjoying this video itself, make sure to leave a like button. Hit that like button. If you're not liking this video, hit that thumbs down. And regardless if you like it or don't like it, leave a comment down below if you have a question about how I did something, or what I'm using in a certain spot, or anything at all. You just want to say hi? Go ahead and drop it down there in that comment section. And here we are with the finished product. A very simple coal rake with a nice little decorative twist into it. And I'm going to change up my handles for each one of my fire tools. That way I know which one I'm grabbing. But until the next video, stay classy, party on.